So we've just seen where this formula comes from for adding them up. So if, as an example, we have a series that starts off 10 plus 12 plus 14 and so on, and I wanted to find the sum of the first 18 terms, find S18, I need to know what A is, I need to know what D is, and I need to know what N is. Then I can just bung things in the formula. So what's A in this example? A is the first term, A is 10. What's D? What am I adding on to get from one to the next? 2. And N here is going to be 18. So if I want to know the sum of those first 18 terms, I can just use the formula that's at the top of the screen. N divided by 2 lots of A, plus N minus 1 lots of D. You can just then bung it in the formula and you should get an answer out. You can either do it yourself if you want to, or you can take it on trust that it should be 486. Okay, it's not a difficult formula to use. And if I said as well, what was that 18th term? How could I find out what that 18th term would have been? Which formula would I have used to find the 18th term? The A plus N minus 1D. Yeah, that gives me my nth term. So if I'd wanted to know what the 18th term was, U18, it would have been A plus N minus 1 lots of D. And that will be 17 times by 2, 34, plus 10, that will be 44. Everybody okay with that one? Okay. If I give you another question to deal with, another example. If we are told that the 5th term is 31 and the 10th term is 61, and I want you to find the 20th term and the sum of the first 20 terms. Yeah, that is it's a 10th. He says it's a 10th term. The 5th term is 31, the 10th term is 61. Can we find the 20th term and the sum of the first 20 terms? Right, we need to know in any of these questions what A is, what D is and what N is. Any ideas what we could do to start this question? This bit of information here, the 5th term is 31. What do I know about the 5th term, other than it being 31? What would be a formula for the 5th term? We've got a formula for the nth term. So A plus, we use the A plus N minus 1D formula. So we've got A plus, N is 5, so A plus 4D, that's the 5th term, that must be equal to 31. That's an important line. So can anybody else come up with a similar line that we can get from the bit about the 10th term? What will the 10th term being 61? What can I get from that? A plus 9D equals 61, yeah, okay. That's another bit of good information. Now those two arrowed lines, what are they? If you take those together, what are those two arrowed lines? Yeah, they are simultaneous equations. Now again, in a C2 exam, if you've got a graphics calculator, you can just type simultaneous equations in and tell it to solve them, and the answer will just pop out the calculator.
What graphics calculator do you got?
I suggest you get a Casio graphics calculator.
And they're definitely allowed in the exam?
They're definitely allowed in the exam in C2, yes. Okay.
Do we have to teach ourselves how to use them?
There will be some teachers who know better than I do how to use them. We'll find somebody in year 13 who's got one, if you know anybody in year 13, and let them go through. But if it's not, anyway, you can still solve simultaneous equations without a graphics calculator. I'll call that equation 1 and that equation 2. If we're doing this without a calculator, what do I do to solve these simultaneous equations? Tabby? Take away 1 from equation 2, okay? If I do equation 2, take away equation 1, a take away a is nothing, 9d take away 4d is 5d, and 61 take away 31 is 30, so that tells me that d is equal to 6, okay? So that's a useful bit of information. Now I know what d is equal to, what can I do from there? This will all be on video later on, Sonny. Okay. Pardon?
Find the 20th.
Not yet, I need to know something else.
Substitute A.
Yeah, I need to find a. So substitute that in. Use either one of these equations. I'd use the one with the smaller numbers in. So I'll use equation 1, which was a plus 4d equals 31. I now know that d is 6. So that's a plus 4 lots of 6, which is 24 is 31. So I now know that a is equal to 7. Yes, okay, 24 up to 31. I now know that a is equal to 7. So I've got my d, I've got my a. Finding the 20th term, u20, well there n is going to be 20. The 20th term is a plus n minus 1d. That's the formula I'm going to be using. A I know is 7, n here is 20, and d I've worked out was 6. So you substitute those in, and you should get an answer out. I'll tell you what it is, it's 121. You could work it out yourself, but that's 121. So can anybody yet tell me without looking what the formula for the sum of the first n terms was? N over 2. 2a. Okay, you can have a look as well. N minus 1d added on, yeah, okay. It is n minus 1, thank you, yeah. So, okay, at this point, again, I want to find the sum of the first 20 terms, so n is 20. I've just found out that a is 7, m was 20, and d was 6. So it's just a case of putting in a calculator. You're capable of doing that. Save time now. I'll tell you the answer is 1,280. Okay. We all happy so far? We've been able to use the UN formula and the SN formula. So the next video there'll be another example doing something slightly different.